right, everybody. My next guest you may have seen on America's Got Talent a few weeks back, and now he is here with us, the very talented Anthony Kapfer. Anthony, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, man. I'm so glad and stoked that you are on this podcast today, because there's so much to talk about. Because I feel you were kind of done wrong, man.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
And we're going to get into it because what people should know is that, you know, sometimes these kind of talent shows or these reality type shows aren't as real as people might seem, and this is like crazy.
Good evening. What is your name?
Hi, my name is Anthony Kapfer.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York City.
Okay, Anthony, we're ready for you.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's with this show in particular, now that I've filmed, you know, I've gone through the process, and watching any of the new season, I know exactly what stuff is real and what isn't. Even just like with just knowing that all of the backstage footage is fake, because when you're there, they don't film you backstage. You go on a fake backstage set that they've built, and they tell you like, hey, look nervous, look in the mirror like you're fixing your hair, tune your guitar, you know, and it's all the day before the
Wow.
the real thing. It's not even the same day. You know, they tell you wear the same clothes,
Damn.
and all that stuff. So like none
Wow.
of the backstage stuff is real.
Wow. All right. So let's walk through this, and then because this is what I've always wanted to know about how these things work. So like, first of all, let's tell everybody what
Yes.
you do. So how would you describe it? Are you a musical comedian, a parody guy, a performance artist? How do you classify yourself?
You know, I kind of go back and forth. I started out as a musician, playing in punk bands and stuff.
Spotify hardly pays artists, so I need a favor from you every day. Play this song on repeat while you sleep. I repeat, you will sleep, you'll play me, they'll pay me.
I did that for like over 10 years. And then I started doing stand-up 10 years ago, and in New York City. So like,
Nice.
you know how the scene is. Musical comedy is a little bit frowned upon. So I was like a little more focused on the joke writing aspect for the first few years that I was doing it. I wasn't really working on writing songs for a while. Just you know, I do like one-liners, and I'll strum like some chords, or you know, a lot of time. But I wasn't doing a lot of songs for the first few years. Whenever I'm single and I miss being in a relationship, I just talk to myself about things that don't interest me. And then I accuse myself of not listening. And then the last few years I've gotten back into writing songs, and especially during the pandemic, because I do like a lot of virtual shows.
Right.
And the songs feel more fun, you know. It's
The songs definitely work, I think, for sure in that kind of Zoom environment. I think if you're doing a Zoom comedy show, you're more likely to get people engaged through what you're doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zilla Vodness.
Give it up for Anthony. I like Anthony's whole vibe because Anthony is very much like the next door neighbor in a TGIF sitcom who always walks around with his guitar.
But yeah, it is weird when it comes to musical acts. I always loved musical acts, guitar comics or what have you. But it is kind of weird. Like some comics do get jaded, especially in the city. You know, that there's that kind of like, I don't know, hierarchy of how they view everything. So, I mean, how was your time in those 10 years just getting through? Which clubs did you hit? That kind of stuff.
You know, the place that I was at the most, I was at Greenwich Village Comedy Club like 4 or 5 nights a week. That was like my bread and butter, just getting on stage as much as I could there. I was at New York Comedy Club, you know, a decent amount, Broadway Comedy Club. I was trying to get in at the comic strip. I did like the late night there for a while. I never really got into their actual rotation.
Right. Yeah.
But I remember when I auditioned for the late night thing, the guy who was booking it at the time, he's like, when I saw you walk up to the stage with the guitar, I left the room because I was like, man, this is gonna suck. And he went into the little room with the TV, the screens and whatever.
Right.
And he started hearing the jokes that I was doing, and then he's like, so then I started paying attention because I knew you're actually good. But he like.
And that's a huge compliment, though. That's a huge compliment when somebody who already thinks, "Oh God, here's another guitar," and then you win them over. That's not easy. Yeah.
So, and that's the same thing with audiences too. I would get that a lot. People come up and be like, "Normally, I hate guitar acts, but I like what you're doing." So, it sucks because people would see me coming up to the stage and be like, "Oh God," which that doesn't feel good. But I guess it made me better, maybe. I guess.
I think so, and I think it makes you a stronger performer. It gives you tougher skin for sure, and the fact that you stuck with it, you didn't say, "All right, maybe I'll try something different." It says a lot about you as well. You know what I'm saying? The metal, you're true.
Yeah.
So now you've been doing this. You're a musician, you're a comedian. You combine the two. When did you decide? Was this the first year you decided to try out for America's Got Talent?
I was sort of in touch with one of the producers the last couple of years. Every time they were looking, it would be like, "We're looking for comics," and I'd be like, "Oh, here's a clip, to keep me in mind, whatever." And I wouldn't hear anything. And then I'd see something like on Facebook or whatever. It'd be like, "Oh, looking for musicians," and I'm like, "Oh, here's another clip." And this time. What it was they were looking for unique acts. So I was like, oh, well, let me do that. I've been working on, I was working on it before the pandemic, but definitely for the virtual shows, what I've been doing a lot is, you can't really see my feet here, but I've got drum pads set up and I play guitar at the same time. So I submitted a few songs as a one-man band, a one-man comedy band. So I was like, that's pretty unique. I don't think I've seen that on the show. So that's what ended up getting me like the callback or whatever.
So that's how it works. So the first step is you submit a tape, essentially. Then the producers review it. Then they call you back, and then what do you do then? Then you go to. Then you're in front of Simon, or is there other steps first before that?
Well, some people that I talked to that were also auditioning. They were like, maybe have big TikTok followings or something. So in some cases, the producers will reach out to you. You don't even submit anything at first. But for me, I submitted a couple of videos of me doing the one man thing, different songs, and then I got the call back, which was like a Zoom meeting where I performed again, like live on Zoom. And chatted a little bit, and then there was a couple of weeks so I didn't hear anything, and I was like, that's probably it, because the year before I did the same thing. I tried to get on the Gong Show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that's as far as I got. I got the Zoom, or I think it was a Skype thing with that show, but that's as far as I got, and I was like, yeah, that's probably the end of it. Another year that they passed on me. But then after a couple weeks, I got an email that they were like, all right, you're, tentatively, here's your date for coming down. And that next step is the taping in front of the judges. But there's like a bunch of weeks where like, you're just signing paperwork. You're chatting on the phone with the like reality TV portion of the, they didn't use my stuff, but they taped an interview. You talk about your life story or whatever.
And they want to get your background, your story, all that
if
stuff.
They would have liked me, if it would have been like all yeses or whatever, they would have used that stuff. So, you have a chat, with that person. They get your life story. They write down all the stuff that they want you to do in your in-person interview. then you get an email from the lawyers. They have all these forms to sign, and then it's like just a lot of back and forth. Then you have to like email a bunch of outfit options, and they approve your outfit.
Oh, they got to approve what you wear too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, everything. So they wanted to know, they picked the song, and they wanted me to do a different song at first. I have this song. It's called "Sell Out." It's just about selling out.
I'm selling out, I've got a radio-friendly sound. I want more money than I can even count. I'm pandering to a mainstream audience, and I don't care if it's super obvious, 'cause rent is due, I'm in financial ruins, phone bill too, I need more revenue. We all sell out, some people do it at their day job, but I don't want to get a day job. I think I'd rather sell out. So can I interest you in buying?
There's like a part, I think one of the reasons they ended up not going with it was there's like, I have this verse where there's like all this product placement.
Oh,
Right,
and,
and they were like, well, I don't know if we could clear the and I was like, it's all like it's not like I'm really sponsored. I could say anything. You
right,
just
exactly.
Tell me which products I could mention, and that's what the verse is. But that was one of the ones that they wanted me to do for a while, and then as this went on with the approving the outfits and signing all the contracts and waivers and whatever, they switched it to this other one because I submitted like 25 songs. They were like, send us more stuff if you have more stuff. Because maybe they'll like you, but the material isn't right. So send as much as you can. So I was like, all right, here's 20 more songs. And
right.
And then they were like, we want you to do comedy songs are not funny. And, so this was like probably late January, early February of this year where I first started this whole process of being approved and having the back and forth.
Comedy songs are never really funny. I find them to be nothing but a bore.
And then I taped it. April 1st was the taping of the audition itself.
Wow. Now, when you do this and you're submitting your stuff, you feel what? You feel confident that, hey, I can do that. I could win this whole thing. Or are you doing it just for like what's your main motivation? Are you looking to win?
It's funny. I didn't think about how far. I mean, I didn't expect it to go how it went.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that was not actually that I did not expect it. But I wasn't thinking about winning either. Not right away. And I don't watch the show, so I forgot like what the prize even is. And then at one point, I was reading one of the emails, or the producer or something told me on the phone, like somebody was like, "Oh yeah, $1 million," and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is for $1 million," and I was like, "This is so weird because." Well, not now, but at that time, I was like, "This is the closest I've ever been to having $1 million right now." And so I wasn't really thinking about winning. What I was thinking about was having just nailing the audition, and then whether or not the judges liked it, hoping that my audition would air, because it's, 5 million people, 7 million people.
So some don't even air then. It's just like not everybody. No. Yeah. Okay.
And this is the other thing that I didn't know until I started talking with these people. Even if they tell you yes on the day, that doesn't mean yes actually, because they don't have a limit to how many people they can say yes to. This is what they told me. They said they just say yes, and then at the end, they reevaluate. And some of those yeses become no's, and some of those things might still air. But if they told you yes and then they decided no later, it's possible it won't air.
Wow. So if you were a yes that changed to a no, you might not get any airtime at all, just because.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the same thing with the no's. If they don't like you, they won't necessarily like what they did to me was like somewhere in between. There's different ways that they can take the no. And one of the things that they were telling me, they also were not really good about, since I was a no, they weren't good about keeping me in the loop. So
Right.
I didn't know what was happening or if it was going to air or when it was going to air. And they were like, I don't know. We heard that maybe it's like you might be part of like a montage of no's, which is like probably, I mean, I don't know if it's worse than not airing, but it's not going to help you in any way.
Yeah, if you're in a montage of no's, I wonder if that would be better to what they did to you or worse than what they did to you. And I want to definitely explain to everybody what they did to you in a second, but I just kind of want to like walk through the process because I think this is really interesting of how this stuff goes down. So now when you're getting ready to go on for real now, like in your backstage in real life, how like what's the vibe like? Are you really nervous at that point? You can see the judges now. Do the judges know anything about you yet, or are they actually seeing you cold?
I'm not sure because I know Simon is like an executive producer, so I'm not sure how much he knows. They have so this is the other weird thing is that when I did the interview, they said, we don't want you to talk about being a comedian. Just talk about being a singer. And the comedy thing is like a misdirection. It's like a surprise. And I was like, okay, but that makes no sense because my song is all about comedy songs. It's called Comedy Songs Are Not Funny, which makes no sense if I'm not a comedian. So fine, I'll do that. If that's what gets me on NBC. But then like 30 minutes before the actual audition, one of the other producers was like, oh, by the way, you can tell them you're a comedian now if you want. And so I sort of think that what was happening was they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do with me. Like, because I know that some of how the judges feel is like sort of scripted. You know, like they're like, well, we don't need this guy. We don't like, we got to push them through because they're young and hot and like whatever.
Right.
So I don't think that all of that is like just this is the first time we're seeing it and we don't know how this is going to like. I think they have a sort of storyline, which is why they picked the song of mine that they picked. It's called Comedy Songs Are Not Funny. The first line of the song is comedy songs are never really funny. And I think they were like, well, if we need them, we could show the whole thing. If we don't, we could just take that little clip and then everybody tells him he's an asshole and edit it how we want and then send him on his way.
What they did, so what they did to you is, so you finally go out there and you perform and they start interviewing you. And now in talking to you now, it seems like the whole thing is so scripted out. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they told the judges, maybe not Simon, but the others, hey, you're going to hit the strike button for sure. You know, this guy, they might have had you set up to fail from the beginning. Did you have any of that feeling of like, hey, something's not right here? Or you just felt everything was great? The producers, everybody was pumping you up. You felt good.
Well, the producers were pumping me up for sure. The producer I was working with. And then like, whenever I would go to film something, like when I filmed the fake backstage stuff where I'm tuning up and looking in the mirror, practicing what I'm going to say to the judges.
I wish we could get that stuff.
I know. I want that. They're like, just pace around. I'm like, oh, man, this is I do this all the time. So this is a role I was born to play.
So they actually coach you of how to look nervous backstage.
Yes. They tell you what they want. They're like, okay, sit over here. And like it's a backstage, like the logo is everywhere. Where you're actually hanging out backstage, it's like a holding room where it's just folding chairs in like a conference room. Right. And they would never film in there. You know, it doesn't look like. But then they've got like all these. They got like the logo everywhere. They're like, all right, sit on this. It's this like big crate that has the logo on it or whatever, and like just give us some nervous energy. Just like just go like this, and you're tuning up, and then get up and look in the mirror. So everything that they're just telling you what to do. And
so is there a bunch of you guys back there, like a bunch of performers that take turns doing this, or like is anybody watching you, like other guys, or are you by yourself?
They take you one at a time for that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's like other producers. So like when I would show up for something like that, the producer, like whoever the producer was of that, or what a director or whatever, they're like, "Oh, I heard your song. I love it. It's going to be great. I can't wait to see." So everybody that I dealt with, the interview person doing the interview, same thing. Like, "Oh, I loved your stuff." But yeah, they take us one at a time for that stuff. Then there's like another. They have like a fake green room that they took me and this other guy, and we walked across the lot to the fake green room, and we hadn't chatted yet. So when we were walking, we're like, "Hey, what's your? I'm Anthony. Oh, what do you do?" Like getting to know each other. And we get there, and they're like, "Okay, now you guys sit over here and pretend like you're just getting to know each other." And we're like, "You should have just been filming us. We just did it. We just did that a minute ago." So we have to do it again. And then they tell you, they're like, "All right, say your names and, say what you do." And then they're like, "Okay, now talk about Simon. Like, how do you feel are you nervous about Simon? Just talk about that." And they did that in my interview too. They kept being like, "What do you think Simon's going to think? Are you afraid of what Simon might think?
Right.
Tell me about Simon." I'm like, so they were pumping me up, but I have been doing this not shows like this, but I've been in the business for, like 20 years at this point. So I knew something was up because they don't want me to say that I do comedy. They're pushing this idea of Simon potentially not like it. They want me to be afraid of Simon. They want to get footage of me being nervous. They want to
Right, you could see the story starting to unfold. You see, you're starting to see the narrative they're putting forward here,
and they want options. So I'm like, they're preparing to either make me look like a clown, or they're gonna pass me through, and I'm gonna look really cool or whatever. So but I talked to another comedian because we were all staying at the same hotel, and I was talking to this other comic, and his act is like a little bit of a novelty act. I don't want to shit on him.
Right.
I won't say exactly what he does, but it's a sort of a novelty.
He doesn't dress up as a dragon or anything, does he? No.
He's close. He's a pair of pants. He's called Mr. Pants.
Okay.
He's a really nice dude. His act is that he comes out and he does pants puns.
Oh.
And they loved it. The judges loved it. But he was telling me that the producers were like, "You will be lucky if you can get through all of your jokes without getting buzzed 4 times. So prepare for that." So certain acts, I think that they do prepare for they're setting them up to fail, and they're like, "You're probably going to fail." Just so you know. But then with me, they weren't doing that. But then he got 4 yeses, and I got 3 nos.
Right.
And so I think that as it's happening, they tape 2 shows. I mean, I don't know if they do that every time, but they taped 2 shows that day, and I was at the end of the second show. So I think by the time it was my turn, they knew. They're like, we got enough from this batch. We don't need this guy. So, let's just tell him no.
It was crazy too. So, but when you got out there and performed, in the video, which we're going to show, I'll play it. People start booing immediately. The crowd is booing you. Simon with his sonic plug is taking a sip out of his thing, looks shocked. Everybody starts hitting the buzzers, and it looks as though you were booed off stage and that you never got a chance to finish the song. But that's not true, right? That's
not true at all. Which this is the thing that makes me this is what makes me mad about the whole thing, is that I'm sure most people think that's how it happened, and all I can do is say that's not the way it happened. They didn't boo me off stage, and that either you're gonna believe me or you'll be like, man, this guy, he's taking it real rough. He's trying to convince people that they didn't boo him off stage. What a loser. But it's not what happened. What happened was I came out, they chat with you first, whatever. I sit down, I kick into the song, I won't play. I'll just do like I'm playing this, and as soon as I kick in with the drums and the guitar, the audience is like, yeah. They're clapping. They're like as if they knew me before I came out, and which you don't see on TV.
Right.
And then I did the whole song. I performed the whole song. At the end, there's like this part. It's like a sing along. I'm like, this is the part we sing together. And I'm like, everybody, and they were clapping to the beat. They didn't sing. I'm not going to pretend like they were, the greatest crowd. I didn't crowd surf or anything like that. But they liked it. They clapped when I started because they're like, "Whoa, this is crazy." And then they were clapping along to the beat during the sing along section. But by that time, I had been buzzed at least twice.
Right.
But there was a little bit of time. Like I think I got to the end of the chorus. The first chorus, and then Simon buzzed me. I couldn't. He's real far away, so I'm not sure that him drinking out of the Sonic cup was the actual shot of him.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But he buzzed me first after the first chorus, and then I do like a little bit more, and then I got another buzz, and maybe even during the like me trying to get them to sing along, that might have been where I got the third buzz. But you don't stop unless you get 4 buzzes.
Right.
Which maybe is why they edited in the sound of the audience booing me. And I think I remember a shot of somebody's giving the thumbs down.
Right.
But that didn't happen. I mean, I didn't see every single person. Maybe one person was giving a thumbs down.
You will never know
because they could have grabbed that from anywhere.
Exactly.
It could have been 2 weeks later where somebody's giving somebody else a thumb, but there was no booing. It was cheering in the beginning, and it was clapping along, and I finished the song, and I think they clapped.
Yeah, because you got through it. They don't ever show 4 buzzes. Howie Mandel did not buzz you, and then when you're playing, you hear that first buzz go. What's going? Like, how's that's messes you up a little, or mentally, or how's it? You just keep
a little bit. I don't watch the show, so I didn't, and I should have probably watched some more clips before because I actually didn't realize that that's how it worked. I thought it was more like American Idol or something where you do your thing and then they just either shit on you when you're done or
right.
But I didn't realize. So I'm playing and then I hear like meh, and I'm like, what is that? Oh, that's weird. And I keep playing and I hear the other one and I'm like, oh wait, maybe. Oh, is that for me?
Is this like it?
And then I keep playing. Then I hear the third one, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is not going well. And then I finish the song or whatever. I stand up again with the microphone, and then Simon is like, I can't even remember now if the stuff that they're saying is actually if they like recorded it later or what. He said something very similar, but I remembered it a little different. Like I finished and he's like, because the song is called "Comedy Songs Are Not Funny," so he said something like, you pretty much described your audition there, didn't you, or something like that.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, they set me up for that because they picked out of 25 songs, they picked the one where I'm pretty much saying I suck. Comedy songs are never really funny. I find them to be nothing but a bore.
Well, you kind of critiqued your own audition, really, didn't you? You just said what we thought.
I like you, but do you have any other talent?
No.
It sounds like like the producers or whatever, they set you up. They're like, oh, this guy's got a certain look. He's got a certain style. He does a one-man band type of thing. He has a song where he's comedian. Comedy songs are never funny. This is perfect for this is the guy. These is the like the Gong Show mentality. We're gonna buzz this guy off and all of that
real quick.
So now that at this point, okay. It's not happening. I'm not getting past. What happens when you see the edit, though? how do you feel when you're watching the show and you're like, oh shit, here I am, I'm going to be on TV on NBC. Now you see what they've done, and that they really edit it in an unflattering way, and not realistic way of how it went down.
Yeah. Well, luckily I was somewhat prepared, because they told me it wasn't going to be the full audition. And I have been a filmmaker. I used to do video editing as a day job. So when they told me it's not the full audition, I was trying to think, how do I think they might edit it, or how would I edit this if I had to? And pretty much I knew that the edit would be how it was. I come out, comedy songs are never really funny, and then they're like, that's all we need. But I did not, nobody told me that they put in booing. So when I saw it, I was like, are they fucking booing me?
That's tough.
Serious?
Yeah,
they
man.
put in the booing? Because they took out the applause, and
when they were all clapping along, and
yeah. So they took out, because they cut the intro of the song short, which is fine. But in the intro, and I'm sure they didn't need to cut the song short to get I'm sure it's all recorded, separately. The audience is probably mic'd up. They could just mute the audience. But they cut out the chunk of the intro where they were clapping. So I don't know if it was just to get the minimum amount of screen time on me, probably. But that is where I got a big cheer from the audience, is in the intro that they shortened. And the booing didn't happen. And so I don't even mind that they weren't going to show the whole thing.
Right, yeah.
They told me no. It does. I was, they could have just not aired anything.
Right, at that point you're happy. Okay, at least I got on TV. I got my face.
Guess.
Yeah, right. But then when they add in the booing, they make you look worse than it was.
Yeah, you can just cut away from me. You don't.
Right.
You don't have to put in the booing. I guess it makes good TV, but it's a shitty thing to do.
Did you hear from any of the producers since then, or it's done, it's over, and this is it?
I had to reach out to the producers to find out when I was going to air, or if I was going to air. They were supposed to be on top of it, but I think they're more concerned with the people that are being pushed to the next round, and so they're just done with you, really.
Yeah.
The producers I was actually working with is a different producer than the one that I originally submitted to, which that producer is cool, and we still are in touch. But the people I was working with directly are not. I don't care for them.
Right. Yeah, I don't blame you, man, because just like you said, adding the booze really is like an extra little middle finger. Yeah. And it's on national television, and there's a degree of humiliation that goes involved with that when you're a professional musician, comedian, and you go out there, you're on this talent show, and then this happens. But now you're kind of fighting back in your own way.
I'm trying to. It's because once I knew that they hated me, I was like, well, if this airs, I have to have something ready to go, because this on its own is not gonna do anything for me.
Right. Yeah.
And let me just also add that the song that I did on the show is a song that I wrote probably 4 years ago at this point. It's a song that I worked out in comedy clubs in New York. In 2019, I toured the whole country for the whole year. I did that song every night. That song was always a crowd-pleasing song. And so they took one of my top best audience reaction songs, and they made it look like I got booed off stage with it. And that really, it fucks with my head.
Yeah, that's messed up,
a
man.
Little bit,
Can you play that song for us right now? and then so this way we could all hear it, and I promise you I don't have a buzzer or anything.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so if we could hear that the song that you played on America's Got Talent, that'd be awesome.
Okay,
Cool.
Here it is. Comedy songs are never really funny. I find them to be nothing but a bore. You always know just when the joke is coming, because the punchlines have to rhyme with the line before. This is the part you're supposed to laugh at hardest, but this chorus does nothing but disappoint. Comedy songs don't need a second verse. Now it seems the song has gone on too long, so now I'm going to make you sing along. This is the part we sing together. This is the part we sing together. This is the part we sing together.
This is the part we sing. Yes. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is awesome, bro.
I mean, I think so. I think it's, it's very meta. Yeah, and I'm working on an album that is all meta comedy songs. And so that, it's just, I like meta humor, and I know it's not for everyone. But crowds generally are into a lot of the meta songs that I have. And
No, I think it's great. And I don't think like a crowd would ever boo that. I think most crowds would get into it and clap along and have fun with it. I think,
people have fun. And the audience had the audience was fine. They were that wasn't the greatest audience I ever performed for, but they were good. I was having fun regardless of the buzzing.
Right.
With I got off stage, I'm like, well, at least the crowd was good. And then I watch it on TV. It's like, you took that from me too.
Jeez, man. Yeah, the way these TV shows work and the way they produce them and try to get these storylines, this narrative, and how they probably had like 3 or 4 different ways it could have gone with you. Like you said, if they would have liked you and you passed you through, we would have saw your whole backstory and all the interviews and more of you sweating backstage.
Yeah. Saying all kinds of, they tell you like weird, goofy stuff to say. But like I had a friend, a comic friend that worked on some other reality show, like one of those VH1 reality shows, and he was telling me about how they have like actual scripts, like they have a writing staff and they produce actual scripts, and then it's presented as a reality show, but it's completely scripted.
Yeah, it's so crazy, man.
So going into this, I had some idea. I don't like those kinds of shows, but at the same time, I'm like, man, especially like after the pandemic, my career is really in the dumps, So I was like, anything that I could do to get a little bit of exposure, I'm willing to do, because times have been tough. So
has this helped?
Fine.
Yeah,
it
hasn't helped.
I have less monthly Spotify listeners than I did before this aired. I think maybe I had 2 people follow me on Twitter. After I did have. It's funny, today I had one person reach out to me on Instagram. This dude was like, "Oh man, your clip was fire on the thing, and like I checked out your other stuff because of it, and it sucks what they did to you or whatever." But that was today. But that's like. That was the first time that somebody reached out and was like, "I saw you on the thing."
Good luck to you, man. Go out there and make it happen.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
But now that you've taken it in your own hands, so now after they did you wrong in a way, because I think editing it the way they did, making it look like you got booed off stage, it does the opposite effect of what you went on the show for.
I was hoping for, yeah.
Yeah.
And because it wasn't real, it makes it just makes it so much harder, because it's like there's nothing I could have done. Like it was a good performance too. I rehearsed the hell out of that song. And it's already a song I've been doing for years, but I made sure that it was a good performance of it, and it doesn't matter. Because
and like you said, there was nothing you could do about it. They already they set you up. It was kind of and you must have felt a little bit betrayed by the producers or whatever, and like been like, really? Like, I know that I didn't get past, but you had to like do. But then it's a weird fine line. Like I think about how I would think about if I was in your shoes, right? I would be angry too, no doubt about it. But then I'd be like, well, I got on TV. Would have been better off if they didn't put me on TV. But I still got the exposure because now you're in a situation where you're fighting back, right? Mm-hmm. And is that helping? Is that getting you some views and follows? The fact that you're fighting, like now in the rebuttal phase, are you starting to pick up some steam?
Maybe. I mean, I put up the music video for the song about the show, as the episode was airing on the East Coast, which is funny. I couldn't even watch it. I thought I could watch it live, but on the West Coast they make you wait until it's 8 o'clock here or whatever. So my sister had to film it on her phone because my sister lives in New York. Yeah. And she sent me she sent me the clip, and but anyway, so I put the video up at the same time because I knew that I didn't know they were going to put the booing, but I knew how it went, and I knew that they weren't going to show my whole clip. So I feel like people that I already knew. A lot of people got behind the idea, my Twitter followers and whatever on all the social media. People were they were sharing it, and people were into this idea, and I was tweeting all this stuff. I tweeted a picture of what our lunch was like when we were taping the thing, which is imagine a gas station sandwich, like a turkey sandwich from a gas station, and then you cut it in half. And that was our lunch.
Yeah, man.
You're sitting around for 12 hours, and they're like, here's lunch, and then a little tiny bag of Lay's potato chips.
And this is a huge show that depends on the performers, and this is the best they could do. Jesus.
It was on focaccia bread, though. But so I don't know. I think that I probably squeezed more out of what it was because I had the song and I was making fun of the whole thing. The clip on its own it didn't help me, but it didn't hurt me either.
I think when more people start to find out how you were done wrong and start to the curtains being pulled back and we're seeing what's the real they don't the backstage stuff. Oh, you aren't really backstage, or them feeding you answers or telling you what to wear and what song to sing and then the product placement with Simon, it's so fake, what I mean? And then the booze that they add in there to add this weird drama.
That was the other. I forgot about this. When I watched it, one of the things that stuck out to me was as I'm walking off stage, Heidi Klum says something like, "Why would someone wait online all day to do this?"
I like you, but do you have any other talents?
No.
Why does someone wait in line all day to do that?
Things were going so well.
Right.
And I tweeted about it. It's I didn't wait. Okay, first of all, that was the song that the producers told me to do. And secondly, I wasn't waiting in line all day. NBC put me up at the Hyatt down the street. So I just showed up to, they're trying to make it like I'm standing outside on, you know, and
Yeah, like waiting on a long line to give you a number, all that jazz. Yeah.
but just even that they couldn't even like none of it's real. They want to make it look like why would some loser show up and do this nonsense, and it's like you picked this out of my entire catalog.
They did everything.
I have 4 albums that I put out in the last 2 years, and this is what you picked out of my 4 albums of material. And and you're going to be like, what's wrong with this guy?
Dude, it feels like betrayed. Like you're putting your trust into these people that they're picking everything you do, and then all of a sudden they shit on it.
They just toss it aside. The other thing that I didn't know, nobody told me about this. So as soon as I got off stage, I'm holding my guitar. I walk backstage. I'm putting my guitar. I'm in the shadows too. It doesn't look like what it looks like backstage on TV. I'm like in a shadowy corner next to a garbage can, and I'm putting my guitar in my guitar case, and this guy just appears next to me, and he goes, "Hey, I'm Ethan. I'm the psychologist on set. Just wanna check in on you, see how you're feeling." And I was like, "Are you serious? Your job is to come over to make sure that I didn't lose my mind after what just happened?" And he goes, "Well, the fact that you answered that way, it means that you probably didn't." And I was like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years. That wasn't even my worst show.
That's crazy, man. Ethan, the guy.
I think his name, I don't remember. I think it was Ethan. But it was something. And then he disappeared. I don't know what happened to him.
He just shows up.
Once he realized I was no threat to myself or others, he just disappeared back into the shadows.
That's crazy. But what, you're on this you have a rebuttal, and I know you have a song that is it's towards the judges, and it's about your experience on here, and I love this song. So tell us about the song, and then if you want to just go right in and perform it, I would love to hear the song again. The song's rocks.
I'll do that. I'll tell you what it's called. It's called "Fuck You, Simon," and it's a song that I started writing as soon as I got back to the hotel, the Hyatt that NBC put me up at. I was like, what do I do with myself right now? As I went back to the hotel, I think my flight wasn't until the afternoon the next day, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, how? This was like 3 months of buildup to this moment, and they just, that was not what I expected, not what I hoped. And I'm like, okay, well, and I think that I had the thought, I was like, well, if this airs, I gotta be ready for it. And also I was like, what else I'm not thinking about anything else right now, obviously. Because this was before I was living in LA. So I flew there for that. And then I was flying home the next day. So I flew out by myself. And so I'm just in a hotel by myself, and it's, and I was just like, okay, well, let me just start writing down how I feel, and let me sort of write a like a diss track to what my version of a diss track might be like about all the judges.
It's awesome.
And so you want me to?
Yeah, man, this is great. This is "Fuck You, Simon" by Anthony Kapfer.
Streaming everywhere. I went on a TV show. It was a show that I don't even like, because I thought it might be good to be seen by 7 million people. But I could not have been more wrong, 'cause Simon Cowell thinks I suck. Heidi Klum said I suck. The lady from Modern Family hates my guts. Howie Mandel didn't seem to like me, but he didn't hate me as much as Simon did. Simon Cowell really hated me. Well, I hate him too. Simon, fuck you.
What do you even do? Are you good at anything else besides being a fucking prick? Simon Cowell, is there anyone in your life who would say you're a real nice guy? Even your wife cannot pretend because she used to be married to your friend until you had sex with her in their bed. I guess what I'm saying is you would not do well on a talent show, whether you were judged on your ability or your character, you talentless piece of shit. Heidi Klum, your fame has waned, your career has seen much better days. Lady from Modern Family, I don't even know your name. Howie Mandel, you were big in the 80s for putting a rubber glove on your face and blowing air into it. That's still the funniest thing you've ever done. Simon Cowell, you can go get fucked. Heidi Klum, I think you suck. Lady from Modern Family, I still don't even know your name. Howie Mandel, you can eat some shit. Take your rubber glove and choke on it. You haven't been remotely relevant since 1988. None of you have talent, so what the hell do you know? America's got more talent than the judges on that show. Thank you, good night.
Yes. Yes. That is the greatest.
I'm not bitter about it. I'm not bitter.
Not bitter at all, man. That is the greatest diss track ever. Oh my God. I hope they hear that. I hope that somehow gets to Simon. And
I hope so too.
Oh my God.
If Simon Cowell wasn't a coward, he'd bring me back on the show to perform that for the judges live in person.
That would be, oh my God, that'd be so great. That song is so great. If anything good came of that whole situation, it's that song.
That was therapy, man.
Oh man,
that
dude.
Song.
That's why, when you hear the whole story and then we finish it off with that song, it's just like the chef kiss, man. It's so great. But so so now what's next for you now? Because I know that you, like you said, you have records out. People could get your stuff on Spotify. They could follow you on Instagram. You're everywhere.
I'm everywhere. Yeah.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
YouTube, yeah, TikTok even. I'm trying with TikTok.
Yeah,
Twitter,
yeah.
Wherever, I'm on all the social media sites. I'm on all the streaming services. And you can buy it for me too. It's on Bandcamp. So you
Nice.
search me on Bandcamp, whatever. And so I'm working on that. I just moved to LA. It's funny. That was like the week after I moved to LA was when this aired. So it's I haven't been recognized yet, but yeah, I'm in LA now, just getting settled in, trying to get back, work the comedy scene out here, work the music scene out here, and just creating content online, There
you go. Yeah, I watched some of your stuff earlier on YouTube. A lot of great stuff. The song stuff, the music is great. I love the songs for children to cry to or whatever.
Yeah.
When you talk about D is for divorce and
If D is for divorce, that your parents filed for. Yeah, D is for divorce. They don't love each other anymore.
and then the one about everybody dies.
Yes. That one is pretty popular on my Spotify. That got on like some big playlist or something.
We are born and then we live our lives. Then my friend you die.
Yeah, man. Great stuff. Again, I appreciate your story, man. I hope more people start to hear your story and hear what you went through, and then also, that has a redeeming effects for you. Like, you're making it happen despite what they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I went into it knowing that was a possibility. I knew comics that went on like Last Comic Standing and all that stuff, and I know that they can edit it to make you look bad, which is why when the judges were shitting on me, I didn't try to look cool in the moment. Like, I didn't try to have like a comeback, because they can make you look even worse, and they already edited the crowd booing me. So I didn't want to try to be like a smart ass. And then they're like, well, we're just going to edit it this way. And then I look like a dick, like a sore loser. Well, I mean, maybe the song makes me look like a sore loser, but
no, the song is freaking great. But
I just took it. It was like, you got me. Okay, you got me. You made me look like an asshole. All right, see you later.
No, you were smart, and I think that your experience with editing and also just being around this showbiz for so long, you were smart to not give them too much more than you already did. So, but yeah, man, you rock, Anthony. Thanks again for coming on the show. Great conversation with you as always.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, man. If ever want to get back, you're always welcome to come on here. If you're back in New York on Long Island, Governor's Comedy Club, just pop on in, man. We have shows. We have a podcast studio set up in the back.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, so it'll be awesome to have you in there, man. Get you on the stage too, man. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Well, you rock, man. Thanks again, Anthony Kapfer, everybody. Check him out on all the social medias and buy his stuff. He's on Spotify and Bandcamp and everything. So great stuff. You rock, my friend.
Thanks.
Thanks, dude.